Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for joining me in the garage here. This is my 2017 Chevy Silverado 1500. It's got the V8. I'm chasing down some oil leaks here. Like a month ago I changed the valve cover gaskets. I'll do a video. I did a video on that. I'll kind of post that later. But this video is about doing the oil pan gasket because it looks like there could be leaking from there. That's where I'm hoping the leak's from. Now that it's fixed, I just want to show you the procedure to get the oil pan removed. First step, what you want to do is you want to change the oil, basically drain the oil out of the oil pan. So I've got that drained there. I've got the oil filter kind of drained into that bucket right there. So drain the oil as if you're doing an oil change. Take the oil filter off. There's a couple brackets, shields you got to take off. I'll show you those underneath to be able to get to the oil pan to be able to get that removed. All right, here I am underneath the truck. This is the front of the truck, and the rear is this way. So here's the oil pan. There's normally a big brace across right here. You can see there's 4 bolts that hold it on. They're 18 millimeters. You got to take those off. There's a couple of shield and plates that you have to take off. Those are 15 millimeters, and there's like an under tray you take off. So once you get to that, you can get the oil pan exposed, and there's these 10 millimeter bolts that are all around the edges. So just get an impact driver or wrench, or just take all the 10 millimeter bolts off. There's no gasket to this. It just uses an RTV sealant. You can see here I have the new sealant on here. But to get the old one off, what I ended up doing that worked pretty well, I just got like a putty knife, a metal putty knife, and I put it between the engine block and the oil pan and just tapped it with a hammer and just got that kind of inserted around this front part, or this is actually the rear of the pan, there. And then once I got that seal kind of broke there, I was able to just kind of pry it down and it just came off. When the pan comes off with all that RTV sealant that's on there, you just have to scrape it off the oil, the engine block and this pan, and then I use some parts cleaner to just clean it up, clean off the surface. You want to get the surface really clean, and then I applied the RTV sealant. And I got a gasket for this, but I think the sealant might work better if you get it very thorough. I use just this black RTV sealant. Now the key to using that is after you want to put it around the whole area and then around all the bolt holes, be very generous with it. Set it up there, and then just hand tight these bolts into the block, into this pan. Let it sit for an hour, and then torque them down after it's kind of dried for about an hour. You don't want to torque them down. And the other key to this is you want to make sure you don't put any oil in this. You want to wait at least 24 hours before you add oil to this, because you want this RTV to be set up and nice and cured, so that it's going to be oil resistant and not fail and not leak oil out of there. So that's kind of where the point I am now. I just got the bolts back up, and I'm going to torque these down now. 18 foot-pounds is the torque spec on these. I need to put the oil drain bolt back in. I can fill it with oil. This takes 8 quarts of 0W20. Put that in. This is a new filter. I just put the new oil filter in right here. And I'm also changing out the drain plug. The drain plug that was on here didn't have any kind of O-ring or rubber O-ring on it. The new one does, and that could have been a source of the leak. So I'm hoping by changing out this oil pan gasket, changing out the drain plug, maybe that'll help reduce some of the oil leaks I'm having. There is some oil kind of up here near the transmission, the starter up there. I think that's from the valve covers that were leaking, and there's some residual oil there. How well this procedure is going to help reduce leaks. I don't think it's going to leak from here. If there's other leaks, it's leaking from other areas, and I'll have to hunt those down. But this at least I can at least eliminate this. It's not that expensive to just get some RTV, for $8 and just reseal that up. If you're doing an oil change anyways, it kind of makes sense. So all I have to do now, I just have to put this bracket back, 2 18 millimeter bolts there. There's a couple little shields right here, 15 millimeters. And then just the tray. There's like a tray cover underneath here I'm going to put back. This is a shot of that bracket that goes across there. You see the 2 bolt holes on each side. I got a lot of oil on that. I think that was from the valve covers, and then those are the shields that went 15 millimeters. They kind of go this way to protect the differential and the oil pan. You can see here's the old drain bolt. There's no gasket on that. This is the new one. See how there's a rubber O-ring on it? So I'm thinking because that didn't have it, maybe it was leaking from there as well. So we're going to use the new oil drain plug. And this was the RTV sealant that I used, this Permatex Ultra Black. It's oil resistant. It's kind of made for oil pans. Make sure you follow the directions here where it says to wait 24 hours, torque it after an hour, That's going to be important to make sure this is going to hold and not fail for you. But this stuff's cheap. I'll leave a link to this. The oil that I'm using is this Pennzoil Platinum. It's a full synthetic 0W20 Dexos rated. This truck takes 8 quarts of that. This has 215,000 miles on it, so this truck does have a lot of miles, and kind of hence the oil leaks I've been having. It just, over time, it just kind of happens. So I just need to pour this back in once I get my drain bolt back on and just kind of finish the install. But that really isn't that hard of a job to do that oil pan. It's called the lower oil pan, and I'm hoping it's not a rear main seal leak, because that's going to be a lot more involved. But so I'll keep you guys updated as I work on this. In a previous video on this truck, I replaced the AC condenser and had it recharged, so AC is working now. Now just trying to hunt down these oil leaks and kind of get that squared away. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully this was helpful. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next one. Thanks.